The morning sun reflected off the crystal towers of Veltara, casting rainbow patterns across the royal chambers. Daniel Carter stood on the balcony, watching the city wake up below him. 5 years had passed since he married Queen Zarathix, and he still found the alien architecture breathtaking. The towers seemed to grow from the ground like giant trees made of glass and light. Behind him, Zara stirred in their bed. Her blue skin shimmered as sunlight touched it. She was 7 feet tall, with elegant features that reminded Daniel of ancient Earth statues. Her eyes opened, revealing the golden irises that had first captivated him during their first diplomatic meeting. "You are awake early again," Zara said softly. Her voice had a musical quality that human vocal cords could never replicate. Daniel turned and smiled. "Old habits. On Earth, diplomats learn to function on very little sleep." Zara rose from the bed and joined him on the balcony. She wrapped her long arms around him from behind. "You have been my husband for 5 years, Daniel. You are no longer just a diplomat. You are home now." He leaned back into her embrace. "I know. Sometimes I still can't believe this is real. A human married to the queen of the Velkari Empire. My former colleagues back on Earth probably think I'm living in a fairy tale." "Is that what humans call it? A fairy tale?" "It's a story with magic and impossible happiness," Daniel explained. "The kind of story that doesn't happen in real life. Except somehow it happened to us." Small footsteps echoed from the hallway. Their daughter Maya burst into the room, her hybrid features a perfect blend of both species. She had her mother's blue-tinted skin, but Daniel's brown eyes and dark hair. At 4 years old, she was already taller than most human children her age. "Papa, Mama, the tutors are here." Maya jumped between them excitedly. Daniel scooped her up. "Already? What are you learning today, little star?" "Commander Zelvan is teaching me about the fleet," Maya said proudly. "He says I need to understand our ships if I'm going to be a leader someday." Zara's expression tightened slightly at the mention of Zelvan's name. The commander of Velkari security had never fully accepted Daniel's presence in the royal family. He performed his duties with perfect precision, but his distrust of humans was barely hidden beneath his professional manner. Daniel noticed his wife's reaction. "That's wonderful, Maya. The commander is one of the best military minds in the Empire. You should learn everything you can from him." After Maya ran off to her lessons, Zara turned to Daniel. "Zelvan still does not trust you completely. After 5 years, he still sees you as an outsider." "He's not entirely wrong," Daniel said carefully. "I am an outsider. The first human to hold a position this high in Velkari society. It makes sense that some people would be cautious. But you have proven yourself time and again. You helped negotiate the mining rights treaty with the Karathi. You restructured our diplomatic corps. You have given me a daughter and shown nothing but loyalty to our people." Daniel kissed her forehead. "Some suspicions take longer to fade than others. Give him time." They dressed for the day ahead. Daniel wore a modified version of Velkari formal attire designed to fit his smaller human frame. Zara wore her ceremonial robes, the ones that marked her as the supreme leader of an empire spanning 12 star systems. The Royal Council meeting began at midday. Daniel sat beside Zara on a smaller throne, his role as royal consort, giving him the right to observe and occasionally advise. Commander Zelvan stood before the council delivering his security report. The frontier colony's report increased activity from unknown vessels, Zelvan said, his 4-fingered hands moving across a holographic display. "They remain at the edge of our sensor range, never entering our space directly." One of the elder council members leaned forward. "Could they be human vessels?" Zelvan's gaze flickered toward Daniel for just a moment. "We cannot confirm their origin. However, the signature does not match known human technology." Daniel spoke up. "If I may, Commander, Earth's government has no interest in provoking the Empire. Our treaty is beneficial to both sides. We gain access to Velkari medical technology, and you gain access to human agricultural techniques." "Your government, perhaps," Zelvan said stiffly. "But not all humans answer to your government. There are colonies, independent stations, groups that reject Earth's authority. The same could be said of Velkari space, Daniel countered politely. Not every member of your species agrees with the Empire's policies. Zara raised her hand, ending the exchange. We will continue monitoring the situation. Commander, increase patrols in the frontier sectors. Daniel, please reach out to Katie Morrison at the Human Liaison Office. Perhaps she has heard something through unofficial channels. The meeting continued for another 2 hours, covering trade disputes, colony expansion, and cultural exchange programs. Daniel contributed where appropriate, his years as Earth's ambassador, giving him insights that the Velkari Council found valuable. Despite Zelvan's distrust, most of the council had come to respect the humans' diplomatic skills. After the meeting, Daniel walked through the palace gardens with Katie Morrison. She was the chief human liaison officer on Veltara, responsible for managing the small human population in the capital. In her mid-30s, Katie had served in Earth's diplomatic corps for over a decade. The commander really doesn't like you, Katie said with a slight smile. He's doing his job, Daniel replied. Security is about seeing threats before they materialize. A human with access to the Queen's private chambers and the royal security systems is a legitimate concern. You've been here 5 years without incident, which is exactly when someone planning something would strike, Daniel said. When everyone's guard is down, Katie studied him. You think like them, like a security officer. Most diplomats don't have that mindset. I spent time with Earth's military intelligence before I became an ambassador. You learn to think ahead, to see patterns and possibilities. They reached a fountain designed to honor both human and Velkari aesthetics. Water flowed in complex patterns that defied Earth's gravity, maintained by Velkari technology. How's Maya doing? Katie asked. Daniel's face softened. She's incredible. Smart, curious, kind. She asks me questions about Earth constantly. Wants to know what rain feels like, what forests smell like, what the ocean sounds like. I've shown her videos, but it's not the same. Will you take her to Earth someday? Maybe, when she's older. When she can understand that she's unique, that humans will see her as partly alien and Velkari will always see her as partly human. She belongs to both worlds and neither. Katie nodded. That's a heavy burden for a child. It's also a gift. She represents what our species can achieve together. She's living proof that we're not as different as we appear. Lieutenant Greg Palmer approached them, his military uniform marking him as part of Earth's small defense attaché on Veltara. Sir, ma'am, we've received a transmission from Earth Command. They're requesting a secure channel conference with you both. Daniel and Katie exchanged glances. Did they say what it's about? No, sir. Just marked it as urgent. They made their way to the secure human embassy building, a small structure that looked out of place among the elegant Velkari architecture. Inside, the communication equipment was purely human technology, protected from Velkari monitoring by multiple layers of encryption. The face of Admiral Henry Blake appeared on the screen. He looked tired, his gray hair disheveled. Daniel, Katie, we have a situation. What kind of situation? Daniel asked. 3 days ago, one of our deep space monitoring stations picked up encrypted transmissions from the Velkari frontier. The encryption was old, from about 15 years ago. We cracked it. Katie leaned forward. What did it say? It was an after-action report from a Velkari military operation. About 3 years ago, they raided a human research station in disputed space. The station was studying faster-than-light communication. The Velkari classified it as illegal weapons research and destroyed it. All 2,000 people on that station were killed. Daniel felt his blood run cold. That never made the news, because the Velkari government covered it up. They executed the squad that conducted the raid, claimed it was an internal matter. They never told us. They never told anyone. Why are you telling me this now? Daniel asked quietly. Because we ran the names of the casualties. Your brother Chris was on that station. So was his wife and their 2 children. The world seemed to tilt. Daniel gripped the edge of the console. That's impossible. Chris died in a transport accident. That's what I was told. That's what everyone was told. Earth's government accepted the Velkari explanation without investigation. We were trying to maintain diplomatic relations. We didn't want to risk the treaty over one incident. I'm sorry, Daniel, you deserve to know the truth. Katie put a hand on Daniel's shoulder. Admiral, why are you revealing this now, 3 years later? Because we've intercepted chatter about possible retaliation attacks. Someone found out the truth and they're planning something. We don't know who or what, but we wanted to warn you. If there's an attack on Velkari targets, Daniel will be in a very dangerous position. The transmission ended. Daniel stood frozen, his mind racing. Chris was dead, not from an accident, but murdered by Velkari forces. His brother, his sister-in-law, his niece and nephew, gone, and Zara's government had. The first attack happened on a Tuesday morning. Daniel was reviewing trade reports in his private office when the alarms began. The sound was unlike anything he had heard before, a deep, pulsing tone that made his bones vibrate. Velkari guards rushed past his door, their weapons drawn. He stood and moved toward the hallway, but 2 guards blocked his path. Royal Consort, you must remain in your chambers, one said firmly. What's happening? Security protocol. Please comply. Before Daniel could argue, Zara burst through the guards. Her face was pale, her golden eyes wide with shock. Daniel, thank the ancestors you are safe. What's going on? Colony 7, it's been attacked. Communications just went dark. We lost contact with over 3,000 people. The Royal Council assembled within the hour. Commander Zelvin stood at the center of the room, holographic images floating around him. The images showed destruction on a scale that made Daniel's stomach turn. Buildings collapsed, fires burning in the thin atmosphere of the mining colony, bodies scattered in the streets. The attack came without warning, Zelvan reported, his voice tight with rage. Multiple explosive devices detonated simultaneously at key infrastructure points. The colony's shields never activated. Someone disabled them from the inside. Who could do this? Zara demanded. Zelvan manipulated the hologram, zooming in on debris. Preliminary analysis of the explosive signatures indicates nuclear devices. Crude but effective, the radiation signature matches Earth's old military designs from approximately 50 years ago. The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Daniel. That's impossible, Daniel said. Earth banned those weapons generations ago. We destroyed our entire nuclear arsenal as part of the Galactic Treaty. Destroyed the official arsenal, Zelvin corrected coldly. But Earth has always been known for keeping secrets. Hidden weapons, black sites, programs that your government denies exist. Commander, that's an accusation without evidence, Daniel said, keeping his voice level. Then explain this. Selvan brought up a new image. It showed chemical analysis data. We also found biological agents at the attack site, designed to target Velkari genetic markers specifically. Only a species with detailed knowledge of our biology could create such a weapon. Another council member spoke up. The humans have been conducting medical research with us for years. They have access to our genetic databases. For medical purposes, Daniel insisted. To cure diseases, not create weapons. Zara raised her hand. This proves nothing. We must investigate thoroughly before making accusations. Daniel, I need you to contact Earth Command immediately. Find out if they have any information about these weapons. The meeting adjourned, but Daniel felt the weight of suspicious stares as he left. Katie Morrison was waiting for him in the corridor, her face troubled. It's bad, isn't it? She asked. Worse than bad. They found human weapons at the attack site. That doesn't make sense. Why would Earth attack a Velkari colony? We have nothing to gain and everything to lose. They reached the secure communication room. Daniel sent an encrypted message to Admiral Blake, outlining the situation. The response came back within an hour, but it wasn't what Daniel wanted to hear. We have no knowledge of any attacks on Velkari colonies, Blake's message read. Our intelligence agencies report no unusual activity from any known militant groups. However, we cannot account for every piece of military hardware from our past. Black market weapons from 50 years ago could be anywhere. We're investigating, but I have to tell you, Daniel, this looks very bad for Earth's position. Before Daniel could respond, more alarms sounded. 2 more colonies had been hit. The pattern was identical. Simultaneous explosions, disabled shields, nuclear and biological weapons. The death toll climbed to over 8,000. Commander Zelvan requested an emergency council session. This time, the guards escorted Daniel to the chamber with weapons drawn. He wasn't being protected anymore. He was being guarded. Selvan stood before the council with grim determination. I have completed a preliminary investigation. The evidence is conclusive. He activated a holographic display showing data streams. We recovered fragments of communication devices at all 3 attack sites. The encryption methods match Earth's military protocols. When we decrypted the messages, we traced them back to their source. The display shifted, showing a location within the palace itself, Daniel's private office. These communications originated from the royal consort's personal terminal. Someone with access to his systems coordinated these attacks. The council erupted in angry voices. Zara stood, her voice cutting through the chaos. That proves nothing. Someone could have infiltrated his systems. Daniel would never. There's more, Your Majesty, Selvan interrupted. We examined financial records. Over the past 2 years, large sums of credits have been transferred from accounts linked to the royal consort to various locations throughout the galaxy. Many of these locations correspond to known anti-Velkhari groups. Daniel felt his heart hammering. I don't know anything about these transfers. My accounts must have been compromised. Your personal encryption keys were used, Selvan stated flatly. Keys that only you possess. Additionally, we found technical schematics in your secure files. Schematics that match the weapons used in these attacks. I want to see these files, Daniel demanded. Selvan brought them up. Daniel stared at the screen, his blood running cold. The files were real. They were in his system, protected by his encryption. But he had never seen them before in his life. This is a frame job, Daniel said desperately. Someone is setting me up. Who could possibly have access to your personal systems? One council member asked. You share quarters with the Queen herself. Your security clearance is second only to Her Majesty's. Zara stepped forward. I demand time to investigate this properly. Daniel has served this empire faithfully for 5 years. He deserves the benefit of doubt. With respect, Your Majesty, Selvan said carefully, your personal feelings for the accused may be clouding your judgment. Under Velkhari law, the evidence warrants immediate detention. I am still Queen, Zara said coldly. Daniel will be detained, but he will not be harmed. We will conduct a thorough investigation. Guards surrounded Daniel. He looked at Zara, seeing the pain in her eyes. I didn't do this. I swear to you, I didn't do this. I know, she whispered, but he heard the doubt in her voice. They took him to a detention cell deep within the palace. It was comfortable as prisons went, with a bed, bathroom, and small window looking out over the city. But the door was sealed, and guards stood watch outside. Katie Morrison came to visit him that evening. She sat across from him, her expression carefully neutral. How bad is it out there? Daniel asked. Bad. The news networks are calling for your execution. Anti-human protests have started in the capital. Lieutenant Palmer and the other humans are being questioned. They're talking about expelling all humans from Velkhari space. I didn't do this, Katie. I know, but someone did. Someone with access to your systems, your codes, your files. The list of people who could pull this off is very short. What are you saying? Katie leaned forward, lowering her voice. I'm saying that if someone in Earth's intelligence community decided to strike back for that research station massacre, you would be the perfect fall guy. You have access motive after learning about your brother, and you're already in position. They could have been preparing this for years, just waiting for the right moment. Daniel's mind raced. You think Earth's government is behind this? Not the government. But you know as well as I do that there are elements within the military and intelligence services that don't always follow orders. Remember what Admiral Blake said about intercepted chatter? What if those weren't external threats? What if they were internal operations? Before Daniel could respond, alarms blared again. Katie jumped to her feet, listening to her communication device. Her face went pale. There's been another attack. Colony 12. But this time they intercepted a message before communications went down. What did it say? Katie looked at him with something like fear. It was in English. It said, for the research station. For Chris Carter. For humanity. The door burst open. Commander Zelvin stood there with armed guards. Daniel Carter, you are formally charged with terrorism, mass murder, and treason against the Velkhari Empire. The penalty is death by execution, to be carried out at dawn. You can't do this. Katie protested. He hasn't had a trial. Under emergency war powers, the High Council has authorized immediate execution. The Queen's authority has been overridden. They dragged Daniel from the cell. He didn't resist. What would be the point? The evidence was overwhelming, even if it wasn't true. As they led him through the palace corridors, he saw Velkari citizens watching him with hatred in their eyes. They brought him to a high-security holding cell, one designed for the most dangerous criminals. Zara was there, standing outside the energy barrier that sealed him in. She had been crying, her golden eyes rimmed with red. "Daniel," she said softly. "Zara, I didn't do this. You have to believe me." "I want to believe you, but the evidence—" "How do I ignore all of it? How do I tell myself that my security chief, my council, everyone is wrong and only my heart is right? Because you know me. We've shared our minds through your bonding rituals. You've seen into my soul." Zara did not sleep that night. She sat in her private chambers surrounded by data screens, going through every piece of evidence against Daniel with her most trusted advisors. Not Zelvan. He had already made up his mind. She needed people who would look at the facts objectively. She called for Elder Kiratan, the oldest member of the High Council and a renowned investigator before her retirement. The ancient Velkari woman moved slowly into the chamber. Her blue skin faded with age to a pale lavender. "You risk much by delaying this execution, my queen," Kiratan said softly. "The people want justice." "Justice requires truth," Zara replied. "Help me find it." They examined the communications first. The encryption was definitely human, using protocols that matched Earth's military standards. But something bothered Zara about the timestamps. The messages were sent during times when she knew Daniel had been with her. In meetings, at dinners, sleeping beside her. Could these messages have been scheduled? She asked. Kiratan studied the data. It is possible. The system could have been programmed to send messages automatically at specific times. But that would require someone with deep knowledge of both human and Velkari computer systems. Daniel has that knowledge. Yes, but so would anyone who had been studying our systems with the intent to frame him. They moved to the financial records. The transfers were real, documented and verified. Credits had moved from accounts linked to Daniel to various locations. But as Zara traced the accounts more carefully, she found something odd. "These accounts are linked to Daniel," she said slowly. "But they were created before he came to Veltara." "Before we met, meaning what?" Kiratan asked. "Meaning someone set this up years in advance. Either Daniel planned this from the beginning, or someone else has been building this frame for a very long time." The thought made Zara's stomach turn. If Daniel had planned this from the start, then their entire relationship was a lie. Their marriage, their daughter, everything. But if someone else was responsible, then they had been playing an impossibly long game. She accessed Daniel's secure files, the ones containing the weapon schematics. They were encrypted with his personal codes, codes that he had created himself and never shared. Velkari truth-sensing technology confirmed that the codes had never been extracted from him forcibly. He had used them willingly, unless he had shared them voluntarily with someone else. Zara stood abruptly. "I need to speak with him, alone." Kiratan frowned. "The High Council will not approve. They believe he has manipulated you emotionally. I am still queen. They can disapprove all they want." The detention level was quiet when Zara arrived. The guards bowed but looked uncomfortable. They knew she was defying the council's wishes. She ordered them to step back, to give her privacy with the prisoner. Daniel stood when she entered, his human eyes red from lack of sleep. He looked smaller somehow, more vulnerable without his royal robes. Just a man in simple clothes facing death at dawn. "Zara," he said, "I need you to tell me the truth. Not the truth you think I want to hear. The actual truth." He looked at her for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "All right, but you're not going to like it. I already don't like any of this." Daniel took a breath. "I have been in contact with Earth's intelligence services. Not constantly, but occasionally, sharing information about Velkari defensive capabilities, fleet movements, technology." The words hit Zara like a physical blow. "You were spying on us?" "I was maintaining communication with my people. After I married you, Earth's government was concerned about losing their diplomatic access. They asked me to keep them informed. I thought it was reasonable. I never shared anything that would endanger the Empire. You betrayed my trust. I maintained loyalty to both my wife and my species," Daniel said quietly. "I thought I could do both. I see now that was naive." Zara felt tears threatening but forced them back. "Did you kill those people? Did you order those attacks?" "No. I swear on Maya's life I didn't, but I think I know who might have. Tell me. 3 years ago, I learned about my brother's death. The real circumstances. Admiral Blake told me about the research station, about how Velkari forces killed everyone there and covered it up. I knew nothing about that, Zara said quickly. When I investigated after Blake's message, I found the classified files. It was handled by the previous High Commander, who died 2 years ago. The records were buried deep. My government lied to me as much as they lied to Earth. I believe you, but when I learned the truth, I was angry. No, more than angry. I wanted justice. I wanted the people responsible to pay. What did you do? Daniel hesitated. I reached out to some people I knew from my intelligence days, people who operate outside normal channels. I asked them to investigate to find out exactly what happened. I wanted names, evidence, something I could use to demand accountability. And they found everything I asked for. They gave me reports, proof of the cover-up. But then they asked me something. They asked if I wanted them to handle it. Zara's blood ran cold. What did you tell them? I said no. I told them I wanted justice through proper channels, not revenge. I thought that was the end of it, but it wasn't. I don't know. Maybe they decided to act anyway. Maybe they thought they were doing me a favor. Or maybe, Daniel trailed off, maybe what? Maybe I was the perfect cover for an operation that was already planned. Think about it. Earth's intelligence community finds out about a massacre of their people. They want to strike back, but they can't do it officially. Then they have me, the royal consort, angry and asking questions. They use my communication channels, my accounts, my access. When the attacks happen, I take the fall. Zara paced the small cell. If you had told me about the contact, about the investigation, we could have worked together. I know. I was stupid. I thought I could handle it myself. A guard knocked on the cell wall. Your Majesty, Elder Kiratan says it's urgent. Zara returned to her chambers to find Kiratan with Commander Zelvan. The commander looked grimmer than usual. We've identified the next target, Zelvan said without preamble. Colony Prime's civilian center. 10 million people. The attack will come in 42 hours. How do we stop it? Zara demanded. We can't. The systems needed to activate Colony Prime's defensive grid were sabotaged. Someone uploaded a virus 3 months ago that will shut down all shields when the attack begins. 3 months ago, before the first attack even happened? Yes, which means this was planned far in advance. Zelvan paused. The virus signature matches code fragments we found in the Royal Consort's files. But the virus itself required access to the military network, which Daniel never had. Except through me, Zara said quietly. I sometimes used his terminal when mine was being serviced. My access codes would have been in the system memory. Kiratan spoke up. I have been reviewing the evidence carefully. While Daniel Carter clearly engaged in espionage, I do not believe he orchestrated these attacks. Zelvan's expression hardened. With respect, Elder, the evidence is overwhelming. The evidence is comprehensive, Kiratan corrected. Too comprehensive. In my years investigating crimes, I learned that real criminals make mistakes. They leave gaps in their planning. But this evidence has no gaps. It's perfect, which means it was designed to be perfect. So you believe he was framed. I believe he was used. The question is by whom? Zara made a decision. Bring Katie Morrison here. Under guard if necessary. And send a message to Earth's government. I want to speak directly with their president. Katie arrived within the hour, escorted by armed guards. She looked exhausted, her human features showing stress in ways Velkari faces didn't. Thank you for coming, Zara said. Did I have a choice? No, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I need to ask you something directly. Is Earth's government behind these attacks? Katie met her eyes. I honestly don't know. My clearance isn't high enough to know about black operations. But I can tell you this. If there is a covert strike force operating, they wouldn't tell people like me or Daniel. They would want deniability. Daniel mentioned people he contacted about investigating his brother's death. Katie's expression shifted slightly. Just a flicker, but Zara caught it. You know something. I know that Earth's intelligence community has assets that operate independently. They're called Prometheus cells. Small groups with deep cover, authorized to act without direct oversight when they believe Earth's security is threatened. Would they kill thousands to achieve their goals? If they believed it was necessary? Yes, these are people who think in terms of species survival, not individual lives. The communication from Earth arrived. President Lisa Rodriguez's face appeared on the screen, her dark eyes tired but alert. Queen Zara Thix. I received your urgent request. Madam President, I need to know if your government is conducting military operations against my people. Rodriguez's jaw tightened. Officially, absolutely not. We have no authorization for any attacks. But I'll be honest with you, Your Majesty. After I received reports about the research station massacre, I ordered an investigation. What I found troubled me deeply. What did you find? Evidence that elements within my own military and intelligence services have been planning retaliation for 3 years. I only discovered this 2 days ago. I've been trying to shut them down, but they're operating. The alarms meant only one thing. The capital itself was under attack. Zara ran toward the command center, guards surrounding her. Commander Selvan was already there, his 4 fingers flying across multiple control panels. Report, Zara demanded. Multiple breach attempts on the planetary defense grid. Someone is trying to shut down our shields. Selvan's face was grim. The attack patterns match the virus signature from Colony Prime. Can you stop it? We're trying, but whoever designed this knew our systems intimately. They're targeting backup protocols we didn't even know were vulnerable. Katie Morrison burst into the command center, still escorted by guards. Your Majesty, you need to evacuate. This is the real target. Everything else was a setup. I will not abandon my capital. Then you'll die with it. That's what they want. Kill you, kill the High Council, destroy the Velkari leadership. Your empire will collapse into chaos. Before Zara could respond, a priority message came through on a secure channel. The sender was listed as Admiral Blake, but when the image resolved, it wasn't Blake's face on the screen. It was a woman in her 50s with iron-gray hair and cold blue eyes. Behind her, Daniel could see military equipment that looked decades old but well-maintained. Queen Zara Thix, the woman said. My name is Colonel Patricia Hayes. I'm the commanding officer of Prometheus Protocol, Earth's Deep Black Operations Unit. I'm the one who ordered the attacks on your colonies. The command center fell silent. Zara forced herself to speak calmly. Why are you contacting me? Professional courtesy. You're about to die and I wanted you to understand why. 3 years ago, your government killed 2,000 human civilians. Among them were some of Earth's best scientific minds. My orders are to ensure that crime doesn't go unpunished. I knew nothing about that attack. Your ignorance doesn't change the facts. Your people killed mine. Now mine will kill yours. That's how war works. This isn't war. This is terrorism. Hayes smiled coldly. One person's terrorist is another person's soldier. History will decide which we were. In 30 minutes, your planetary shields will fail completely. My ships will fire on the capital. The death toll will be approximately 15 million. The Velkari Empire will spend decades recovering if it recovers at all. You'll start a war between our species. No, I'll end one before it begins. Earth can't afford to appear weak. We're surrounded by species that view us as primitive. The Velkari massacre proved that even our friends see human lives as disposable. I'm sending a different message. Hurt us and we hurt you back 10 times harder. Zara's mind raced. Daniel Carter. You used him. We did. It was almost too easy. The man was grieving, angry, desperate for answers. We fed him information, encouraged his investigation, then used his access to set everything up. He never knew the real plan. He actually believed we would pursue justice through legal means. Hayes laughed. Diplomats are so naive. He's innocent. He's guilty of being a useful idiot. But don't worry. He'll die with you, so it won't matter much longer. The transmission cut off. Zara stood frozen for a moment, her mind processing everything. Daniel had been used just as she suspected. But now she had proof. And it was completely useless because they were all about to die. Can we stop this? She asked Selvan. Not with conventional methods. The virus is too deeply embedded. Even if we shut down the entire defense grid and reboot, it won't complete in time. Then we evacuate. Get as many people out of the capital as possible. Your Majesty, Kiritan interrupted. We can't evacuate 15 million people in 30 minutes. Katie spoke up. What if there was another way? Everyone turned to her. She looked uncomfortable under the attention, but continued. Daniel has been feeding information to Earth for years. He knows how their systems work. If he helped build this trap, maybe he knows how to disarm it. He claimed he didn't know about the attacks, Zelvan said. Maybe he didn't know the specifics, but he understands human military thinking. It's worth asking. Zara made the decision instantly. Bring him to the command center now. Daniel arrived within minutes, still in restraints, guards on either side. He took in the chaos of the command center with practiced eyes. I heard the alarm. What's happening? Zara explained quickly. Daniel's face went pale as he listened. Colonel Hayes, he said quietly. I should have known. She was Chris's commanding officer before he went into research. She always believed in preemptive strikes. Can you stop this? Zara asked. I don't know. I never had access to the actual attack systems. They kept that compartmentalized. But you understand how they think, Katie insisted. You were trained by the same people. Daniel thought for a moment, then moved to a console. Remove the restraints. I need to work. Zelvin looked ready to refuse, but Zara nodded. The guards removed Daniel's restraints. He flexed his hands and began typing. Prometheus protocol operates on a simple principle, he said as he worked. Redundancy. They never rely on a single point of failure. If we shut down the virus, they'll have a backup. If we stop that, they'll have another backup. So we can't stop it? I didn't say that. I said they don't rely on single points of failure. But every system has weaknesses. We just need to find theirs. He pulled up the defense grid's architecture. The virus is attacking your shield generators, but it needs constant communication with Hayes's ships to coordinate the timing. If we can disrupt that communication, our jammers aren't strong enough, Selvin said. Human military encryption is too sophisticated. Your jammers aren't, but mine might be. Daniel accessed a hidden partition on his personal terminal. I've been building a communication backdoor for years. I told myself it was for emergencies, a way to contact Earth if the official channels failed. But I think part of me always knew I might need it for something like this. He activated a program that began broadcasting interference across all human military frequencies. The virus's attack pattern stuttered. It's working, Zelvan said with surprise. The virus is losing coordination, but then alarms blared again. New contacts appeared on the long-range sensors. 3 ships decloaking in high orbit, their weapons charging. They're here, Katie breathed. Daniel stared at the ships. Those are old Earth destroyers. Decommissioned 20 years ago or so, everyone thought. Hayes must have kept them operational for Black Ops. Can your shields withstand their weapons? Katie asked Zara. If we can get them operational in time, yes. But we only have 15 minutes before the virus completes its attack sequence. Daniel's fingers flew across the keyboard. I'm trying to access Hayes's command codes. If I can get into her system, I might be able to shut down the virus remotely. How would you have her codes? Because I helped design some of Prometheus Protocol's systems years ago, before I became a diplomat. I was young, stupid, and thought I was serving my species. I know how Hayes thinks, how she builds her operations. She's brilliant, but she has patterns. Minutes ticked by. The virus continued its attack despite Daniel's interference. The ships in orbit finished charging their weapons. On the screens, Zara could see evacuation efforts in the streets below, but there wasn't enough time. Millions would die. Then Daniel stopped typing. His face went blank. I found something, he said slowly. But you're not going to like it. What is it? There's a secondary communication channel. Encrypted, routed through multiple relays, but ultimately traced back to... He stopped. Where? Zara demanded. Katie Morrison's personal terminal. Everyone turned to look at Katie. She stood very still, her expression unreadable. That's impossible, Katie said calmly. I've been cooperating fully with the investigation. Daniel brought up the data. The communication started 4 years ago. Small data packets, nothing that would raise flags. But together they map out the entire Velkari defense system. Shipyards, command centers, military installations. Everything Hayes would need to plan this operation. Katie looked at the data, then at Daniel. Something passed between them, a moment of understanding. You knew, Daniel said quietly. You've known all along. Katie's hand moved toward her jacket, but Velkari guards were faster. They had weapons pointed at her before she could draw her own. I'm sorry, Daniel, Katie said, but this was always bigger than you. Bigger than both of us. You were Prometheus Protocol from the start. I was assigned to watch you when you first came to Veltara. Make sure you didn't betray Earth's interests. But when Chris died, when we learned the truth about the research station, our mission changed. You became useful in ways we never anticipated. So you fed me information, encouraged my anger, made me think I was getting justice. We gave you what you wanted. The truth about your brother's death. We just didn't mention what we planned to do with your access and your grief. Zara stepped forward. You've been coordinating with Colonel Hayes this entire time. Every day. I'm her eyes and ears on the ground. When Daniel set up his communication backdoor, I made sure it could also serve as an entry point for our virus. When he accessed Velkari systems through your terminal, I logged every key press. You gave us everything we needed. People trusted you, Daniel said, and the betrayal in his voice was raw. People trust easily. That's their weakness. Katie looked at Zara. You're a good queen. Your people are fortunate, but your government made a mistake 3 years ago, and now you're paying the price. That's how 3 days after the attack, Daniel Carter sat in his cell and watched the news broadcasts. The Velkari media was calling it the human crisis. Anti-human protests filled the streets. Despite Zara's best efforts to explain what happened, most people only saw the facts. Humans had attacked them, thousands were dead, and the royal consort was a spy. Katie Morrison was in a cell nearby singing old Earth songs to herself. She had given her testimony, confirmed Daniel's version of events, but without Colonel Hayes or physical evidence, it was just words against suspicion. Zara visited him on the 4th day. She looked exhausted, her blue skin duller than usual. Being queen meant carrying the weight of millions, and that weight had grown heavier. The High Council wants answers, she said without preamble. They want to know how this happened. They want to know if Earth's government was involved. Most of all, they want to know if they can trust any human ever again. What did President Rodriguez say? She denied everything, of course. Said Prometheus Protocol operated without official authorization. But she can't prove it, and my people don't believe her. There's talk of expelling all humans from Velkari space. Some want to declare war. Daniel nodded slowly. And what do you want? Zara sat down across from him, the energy barrier between them crackling softly. I want the truth, all of it. No more secrets, no more partial explanations. You said you only shared defensive information with Earth. You said you had no idea about the attacks. But Katie knew everything, and she was your colleague. How do I believe you didn't know? Because I'm not a good enough actor to fake 5 years of marriage, Daniel said quietly. Because if I was really working with Prometheus Protocol, I would have gotten Maya and myself to safety before the Capitol attack. Because I love you, and that was never part of any mission. Love isn't evidence. No, but it's the truth. Daniel stood and approached the barrier. Zara, I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you years ago. More secrets? One final secret. Then you'll know everything, and you can decide what to do with me. Zara waited, her golden eyes watching him carefully. Daniel took a breath. When I learned about Chris's death, about the research station massacre, I didn't just reach out to old intelligence contacts. I activated something, a protocol that I helped design 10 years ago before I ever came to Veltara. What kind of protocol? It was called Guardian Network. A deep space monitoring system designed to protect human interests across the galaxy. Small satellites, communication relays, data collection nodes. We placed them everywhere humans traveled. Every colony, every station, every planet we visited. You were building a spy network. We were building insurance. Humans are the new species in galactic politics. We're surrounded by civilizations that have been traveling the stars for thousands of years. We needed to know what was happening, to protect ourselves from threats we couldn't see coming. Zara's expression hardened. You put spy satellites in Velkari space? In every system humans had access to. Including this one. Including the capital planet. How many? 347 satellites in Velkari space alone. Most are passive, just collecting data. But some have other capabilities. What kind of capabilities? Daniel pulled out a small device he had been hiding. The guards should have found it, but he had used his knowledge of their scanning protocols to keep it concealed. This is a Guardian Network access key. With it, I can activate any satellite in the system. I can send commands, receive data, or initiate emergency protocols. Zara stood abruptly. You're threatening me. No, I'm warning you. Because Colonel Hayes isn't done. She failed to destroy the capital, but Prometheus Protocol doesn't give up. They'll try again, and next time they won't make mistakes. So what? You'll protect us with your spy satellites? No, Daniel said softly. I'm going to show you exactly what humans are capable of when we're pushed too far. And then I'm going to give you a choice. Before Zara could respond, Daniel activated the device. The lights in the cell flickered. Alarms began to sound throughout the palace. Commander Zelvan's voice came over the communication system. Your Majesty, We're detecting massive signal activity across the capital. Unknown systems are activating everywhere. Daniel spoke clearly, knowing he was being recorded. For 5 years, every human who came to Velkari space brought something with them. Not weapons. Something much more subtle. Nanomachines, too small for your scanners to detect. They're in every building, every ship, every piece of technology, dormant until now. On the screens throughout the palace, images began to appear. Satellite feeds from across Velkari space. Military installations, fleet positions, defensive grids, communication networks. Everything laid bare. We know where every one of your ships is located, Daniel continued. We know your defense codes, your command structure, your supply lines. We've been watching and cataloging for 5 years. Not because we wanted to attack you, but because we needed to ensure that we could respond if you attacked us first. You've been planning this since you arrived. Zara breathed. Not planning. Preparing. There's a difference. Humans learned a hard lesson in our history. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. When the Velkari killed those people on the research station, it proved that even our allies couldn't be fully trusted. So we made sure that if you ever came after us again, we'd be ready. Images continued to flash across screens. Daniel showed her virus protocols embedded in Velkari systems, communication backdoors, supply chain vulnerabilities. Everything that made the Velkari Empire strong. He revealed how humans could make it weak. This is an act of war, Selvan's voice said over the communication. No, Daniel replied. This is a demonstration. Colonel Hayes showed you what one small unit of humans could do. I'm showing you what humanity as a whole has been capable of since we arrived. We could shut down your entire civilization right now. Not destroy it, but paralyze it. Every ship grounded, every defense grid offline, every communication system jammed. Why are you telling us this? Zara demanded. Because I don't want to use it. Neither does Earth's government. President Rodriguez didn't know about Guardian Network any more than she knew about Prometheus Protocol. These are safety measures, insurance policies designed by people who know that the universe is dangerous. You lied to me. You lied to everyone. I kept secrets. The same way your government kept secrets about the research station massacre. The same way every government in history has kept secrets. The question isn't whether we hide things from each other. The question is whether we can build trust despite those secrets. Daniel deactivated Guardian Network. The screens went dark. The alarm stopped. But everyone knew the systems were still there, still watching, still waiting. I'm giving you a choice, Daniel said to Zara. You can execute me. Tell your people that justice has been served. But Guardian Network will remain active and Earth will continue monitoring everything you do. Or you can accept the truth. Humans and Velkari have both done terrible things. We can either spiral into war or we can build a real peace, one based on honest acknowledgement of our capabilities and our limitations. Zara stared at him through the energy barrier. You manipulated me. You used our love to gain access to our systems. I loved you first, Daniel said. The mission came after. Maya was born before I ever activated Guardian Network. Everything we built together was real. But when the Velkari killed my brother, I had to make a choice. Trust that your government would do the right thing or protect my species. I chose my species. I'm not sorry for that, but I am sorry for hurting you. The cell door opened. Elder Kiritan entered, accompanied by guards. Daniel Carter, the High Council has reached a decision regarding your status. Daniel turned to face them, knowing this could be his execution order. You are hereby banished from Velkari space, Kiritan announced. You will never be permitted to return. Your marriage to Queen Zarathix is annulled. You will have no contact with your daughter Maya, except through official diplomatic channels. These terms are non-negotiable. I understand, Daniel said quietly. However, Kiritan continued, in recognition of your assistance in stopping the capital attack, and in consideration of your testimony against Katie Morrison, the execution order is lifted. You will live, but you will live in exile. Zara spoke for the first time. This is my decision, Daniel. Not the Council's. I can't forgive what you've done, but I can't execute you either. Maya deserves to know her father is alive even if she can't see him. What about Guardian Network? Zelvan demanded. He just proved humans have been spying on us for years. Earth and the Velkari Empire will negotiate new treaties, Zara said. Full transparency about monitoring systems, mutual inspections, and consequences for violations. Real consequences, not cover-ups and secret reprisals. She looked at Daniel. You wanted justice for your brother. You'll get it. The officials who covered up the research station massacre will be tried publicly. Their crimes will be acknowledged, and we'll build monuments to honor the dead, both human and Valkyrie, all the dead from every attack, because that's what civilized species do. Daniel felt tears threatening. Thank you. Don't thank me. You destroyed our marriage. You weaponized our trust. You turned 5 years of love into a strategic operation.